We have no video.
Lapeati hairua banke tamana meri Zindagi shama ki surata hokudaya meri Dore dunia kamere dam sihandera ho jaye Dore dunia kamere dam sihandera ho jaye Har jagah meri chamakne sehujala ho jaye हर जगह मेरी चमकने से उजाला हो जाए ओ मेरी kamgare bon himhayat karna ओ मेरा kamgare bon himhayat karna Dardamando sizaefon si mohabbat karana Dardamando sizaefon si mohabbat karana Mere Allah porae sipachana mujhko Mere Allah borae sibanchana mujhko Neke chora ho srapa chalana mujhko Lapeati hairua banke tamana meri.
I'll invite you to hold that silence or that tone in your heart. It is a Pakistani song, the children sing it when they're in school, and it's sung in Syria. And let's just hold the children, the family, Pakistan and Syria, who suffer from floods, violence, famine, and many different kinds of pandemics right now. Let us send love. I'll invite Carol forward to welcome. You advance this with 2 fingers up.
Thank you. Good morning. Well, let's see. I'm Carol Gable, the current president of the board for UU Utica. Thank you for being with us today on this rainy day. Whether you are visiting for the first time or have been a member for many years, you are welcome here. Whatever faith you have known, if any, you are welcome here. Whoever you are and whomever you love, you are welcome here. We are invited to bring our whole selves to this worship service, our doubts as well as our convictions, the pain and joy we have known, our longing for connection and understanding. Every part of you is welcome here. Our congregation acknowledges that the land on which UU Utica is situated is the ancestral lands of the Oneida Nation, one of the original nations of the Haudenosaunee or Iroquois people. If you're visiting us today for the first time, either in person or online, we are glad you have joined us. We would love to learn more about you and connect you with our newsletter. There will be a link in the chat to a form we hope any online visitors would fill out, and we hope you will stay for informal conversation in a breakout group or in the back after service. The announcements today are, oh, yeah, sorry. Even though it's going to be raining, probably, we are planting pollinators in the front, native pollinator plants in the front, not pollinators, after the service today, to bloom in the spring for our flower communion service, I hope. So we have shovels and we have raincoats and umbrellas. We can take turns holding umbrellas over people's head as we plant. Alyssa from Spring Farm Cares is bringing 200 seedlings. And we're not going to plant them all, but if you want to take some home for your own gardens to plant on a sunnier day, you're welcome to do that. During the startup yesterday, we were all invited to write down and share things we want the congregation to be able to hold on to, let go of, and what dreams we have for the congregation. There are cards and pencils scattered around the room. For those of you who were not able to join us yesterday, feel free to pick up a card and write down a dream you hold for this congregation. The ushers will pick up your cards along with the offering later in the service, and Karen will share what she's able to along with yesterday's sharing. Thank you.
Would you help with the chalice and justice? I also want to make a correction to that, my fault, not Carol's. Rather than being scattered around, those sheets of paper are in, every name in my brain is not your name, but Jeff has the pens and the paper that he's going to just send around. Take one if you'd like and share what you're thinking.
You want me to light the chalice? Okay. And so now let us open our hearts and minds to the experience of community and the wisdom of love.
For the chalice lighting, I'd like to share with you some of the words that came from our gathering yesterday about what people cherish about this community. Go right ahead, Carol. We cherish our congregational covenant that we learn to use in order to guide us in community. We love and continue to welcome all and learn how it feels to be an inclusive community. We value deeply our strong centuries-old tradition of social justice and our strong commitment to personal and spiritual journey. Not one or the other, but both, not in conflict, but each dependent on the other. We love our commitment to a democratic process of inclusion rather than being used to exclude. We love belonging to this faith, and we commit to this community and to one another. And doing these things, we begin again in a covenantal and a sacred manner. May it be so. And we will sing One Family with they are words that are easy to hear and repeat. Well, if nothing else, we have at least 3 people who know these words and will sing them for us and hopefully with us. This has been a day of going with the flow. It's appropriate that it's raining, or maybe raining. For those online, Do you have a mic? It's only with a mic that
Let me
the
just
people
put the
online
notes
can
to
hear
it so you hear the notes.
One family, one world, one world, one world, one family. Nice. One world, one world, one world, one family.
So the middle part is going to be with many different voices.
Who's actually in the middle? Who wants to volunteer to be in the middle? So you, okay, good.
Yeah, we got enough.
We got enough.
Okay.
I don't
So
see.
with many different voices, one family are your words. The tricky part is that this is kind of syncopated. So if you like clap to yourself, with many different voices. With many different voices, one family. And I'm not in the right pitch.
With many different voices, one family. With many different voices, one family.
That's the part. This is my part. This is the fun part. You guys agree? Oh, you get the fun part.
Use the microphone, please, if you can.
Use the mic. Yeah, you do it.
Okay, are we on? Are we on? We're on.
Oh, you've got.
Okay. The fun part is we may disagree, but we are one family. We may disagree, but we are one family. One more time. We may disagree, but we are one family. Perfect. Now we're going to go one part at a time. Anne's going to sing her part twice, and you can follow her. Second time in, Betsy is going to come in with her part, sing it twice, and I'm going to come in with this group after Betsy.
Is this the practice?
Well, let's practice.
Or is this the, is it
Want to practice it one more time?
all three groups? You do that?
There we are. Yay.
So just,
words.
Sing along whenever you get comfortable. Hopefully sooner.
Oh, so we're going.
Are we going?
Anne's is the first line. Ours
Betsy is
the
the
third
we
line.
may
This was
disagree.
the third line.
That's okay, you'll remember it. Yeah.
Okay, starting with one world.
Can I have that note again, just a little bit? One world, here we go. 1, 2, ready, and one world, one world, one world, one family. One world, one world, one world, one family. One world.
With many different voices, one family.
One world.
With many different voices,
One world.
one family.
One world.
With many different voices,
One world.
one family.
One.
With many different voices,
One world.
one family.
One world.
With many different voices,
One world.
one family.
One world.
With many different voices,
One world.
one family. You guys are great. You
Thank you, thank you.
guys are great.
And we cheer for the singers, we cheer for each other, and we cheer for our beloved Alex, who is managing technology that is very challenging this morning. So thank you. So after that, you wouldn't think we would need another. It's not really a challenge. It's something that I've learned and have loved in many congregations, where it's an experience of what congregations can feel like when we're moving with our hearts and with our creativity and with our sense of connection and our understanding, all of those things together. And it's called a rainstorm. How appropriate. I'm going to take a great risk and move this. Okay, so we can make a rainstorm together, and in fact, the person in this role can be a choir director, can be a person who's running a religious face sometimes. It means starting all over again sometimes, and this is always painful. It means saying, I'm sorry. It means recognizing that we have the ability to change. These things are hard to do. But unless we turn, we will be trapped in yesterday's ways. God, help us to turn from callousness to sensitivity, from hostility to love, from pettiness to purpose, from envy to contentment, from carelessness to discipline, from fear to faith. Turn us around, O God, and bring us back toward you. Revive our lives as at the beginning, and turn us toward each other, O God, for in isolation there is no life. Today we're talking about beginning again because yesterday was a time when I think maybe 30 of us came together to talk about starting again as a congregation that has been in existence since the 1800s and has yet another new minister. We're not a Jewish community, but we honor our Jewish neighbors and learn from these high holy days to turn to covenant, to God, to life, to one another, to our covenant in this community. We turn to start again in ways that are more consistent with our covenants. And by the way, if you have an order of service, the covenant is on the back. And so we begin again covenantally in a sacred way. I'm happy and I'm honored to be your new minister. I learned so much from hearing many of you think together yesterday morning and witnessing as you shared about your past and your hoped for future. And I'll share some of what I heard yesterday so that those of you who were not there can hear some of it. There will be other ways for us to share these things over time and for you to contribute. And the board will be working with your thoughts to figure out what our plans are, how our lives in this coming year will reflect what our hopes and dreams are. Already I've learned something, actually a great deal, about what has hurt you in community. Something of what you have learned through multiple ministers, losses, and transitions. I've learned something of what you yearn for in community, and a great deal about the many gifts you bring to each other and to the world. I think it's possible, actually likely, that you as a congregation and I as a minister are a good match for one another. And I celebrate this with my whole self. It seems you are ready to be together, ready to deepen, to learn more and share stories, and so am I. It's clear you as community are ready to laugh and celebrate together. So am I. Aren't we all ready? What a relief. And collectively, you want to make a positive difference in the world, as do I. It's also clear that while we learn and laugh and build community, that you collectively and we are ready now not to shy away from what is difficult for us, which is a natural thing in coming together in community. That's good, and I feel much the same way. I'm ready to use my heart, my mind, my spirit, and my skills to help you do these things in partnership with you in a covenantal and a sacred way. One of the funny things that happened yesterday was that participants were invited to write down their expectations for ministers. You laugh, as you should. To kick off, sharing that the facilitator read a list from somewhere else, and the first expectation that I, as a minister, have the energy of a 29-year-old and have 40 years of experience. Honestly, I have more of the energy of a 40-year-old and the experience of 25 years of experience, but even there, we're stretching it a bit. So we all know that our collective desires of any minister can't be met by one person. And so it's likely helpful for you to know that over the years, I've learned my own limitations. I know the dance that I tend to do between too much, just enough, and not enough. One that's probably familiar to all of you as well. It's a dance we all need to live with ourselves, and we need to learn to live with ourselves. I tend to recognize now when I'm tipping out of balance and know I am in a covenantal relationship with you, and so I am responsible for taking care of myself. I will let your leadership know when I need to recalibrate, take some time after the work has absorbed too much of me. You do not need to worry about me not taking care of myself. And I think you need to know I care about you a great deal, in fact. I care about you and hold loving care for you, even as you, like every community of human beings, have dynamics to work on. We come together in faith community not because we all move peacefully through life in a covenant, that we as a community tend not to be good at being honest when there might be some difficult and conflictual feelings or realities. That sounds familiar for our personal lives as well, right? It's true here. It's kind of a cultural habit, let's say. There are difficult dynamics in every congregation. That does not make you and I as community awful. It makes us real. The strength of community will build with shared stories, with shared food, of course, with shared successes and shared spiritual journeys. We will strengthen ourselves. And our communal strength will actually grow with care through conflict. Not slamming into each other, but with guidance and skill, stepping face to face with our conflicts into more skill, more understanding, more being able to be in covenant with one another. I know this to be possible. I know that it happens, and I know it is a worthy purpose for our lives together and individual, because we all need to figure some of this out in our own lives. And everyone knows that our culture could use more of this. Well, because this is true, we hope to be more and more authentic and in covenant with one another as we learn the skills and with experience learn to treat each other with respect and care through our differences. And even when our vulnerabilities and our reactivities get triggered, which they do and they will, we will learn to be authentic and in covenant with one another. Even as we are not necessarily liking one another. You are not all, I know this is a relief to you, but you're not expected to all like each other. That's not possible. We are very different. We have different passions. Oh, there's some affirmation out there. Are you relieved? We don't have to like each other all, but we need to live in covenant with one another. All right, and here's another one. We gather not as liberal Democrats.
Democrat.
After me, we gather not as liberal Democrats, not spiritual without relationship to justice, nor just as justice advocates without spirituality, but we are learning in this terribly, terribly polarized time how to expect differences and be curious about how in the world we've each come here and to believe what we happen to believe. That's what it means to be covenantal. We can learn to remain together through conflict in covenant. So take that home, that order service, take a look at that covenant. It's a living document. It's not one that somebody typed up and no one has input with. It is one that breathes with us, that we change as we learn. We can't really learn how to live together with our authentic selves without rubbing each other the wrong way, without surfacing hurts, and sometimes being hurtful. It is difficult to be our authentic selves in a Unitarian Universalist congregation without growing our beliefs. We don't come here and expect to stay exactly who we are and what we believe. We come here because we value learning. We value truth in its many, many kaleidoscopic aspects. We begin with skillful support and growing our beliefs because our covenant guides us to listen, to engage, to respect, and grow individually and as community. I call that muscular love. I don't know if you've heard that term before. I didn't make it up. I call that muscular love. It's love that's just not what you say. It's what you learn how to do through mistakes, through covenant, through work together, through challenging ourselves, also through taking breaks and not exhausting yourself. But learning muscular love is really, for me, what covenant is about. We begin our ministry together, you and I, with a desire to share in real ways, to learn, to make a difference, to deepen spiritually, to grow, to laugh and play and eat. And I'd say we have begun this journey together well. May our covenantal lives together serve to increase love, to make justice real, and help heal the world we so love. And may it be so for us all. And we turn now to the blue hymn book that's on page 1064 and is online with words.
You got a hymnal at home.
Blue
So-
Boat Home. It's one of the most beloved
Yeah, the one that
hymns of our
Coach
denomination.
gave us to take back. I haven't found
And
it.
again, try imagining 10,000 people singing this together, as was done in Boston General Assembly years ago. Please rise as you are able, in body or spirit, or both.
Me, I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known.
That's Chris and me.
Universe is my ocean, I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here
Thank you. Please be seated. Because we're having so many technical challenges, no fault of Alex's or anyone in particular, we step on wires, our internet is wobbly, etc. We are going to do candles very carefully by walking over to the side and not up here. And to avoid stepping on anything here, if you would, one at a time, come speak your joy or concern into this mic, and then return the same way. And I will, if you trust me, light your candle on your behalf so we don't have any fires. I have lit my vestments before, so not today. That was an exciting wedding. It's true, I burned my robe on a candle in a wedding. I know that is being used to divide us, and that I light a candle for the capacity to maintain our covenant with one another, stay at the table when such truth comes forward with such power. And I light the last candle for those who were not, who have joys and concerns in their hearts and who did not come forward to light a candle. May this candle represent not just your joy or concern, but that this be a place that can hold you well with your joy or concern and that extends care to you. May it be so for us all. And just a note of near hilarity is that I'm using my computer because we couldn't get the printer to work today. So it's just a roll with it kind of a day. And the more you laugh, the better it feels. So that's good. Oh, let's enter a space where we can just be ourselves, be in your center, wherever that is, whether you think of it in your hands or your feet, your mind, your heart, looking out the window, looking at candles, wherever you find yourself able to just be. And this space, I'm going to evoke words that came up yesterday about things we want to leave behind. May we learn in time together to let go of old stories and drama from the past that only tell a limited and negative part of who we are. May we learn to let go of speaking about one another rather than to one another. May we learn in time to let go of expecting and pressuring people to have the same philosophies in the world of faith, religion, politics. May we let go of the fear of disagreeing, fear of offending, being judged, being rejected, letting go of habits. May we let go in our personal lives and in the life of this community, larger bodies that we might claim ourselves as member or part of, like our Unitarian Universalist Association, that because they're big or have made mistakes that we want to divorce ourselves from. May we learn to be in community. May we let go of the ability to admit and address conflict. May we let go of our difficulty sharing roles in our families, in our lives, in our communities. May we let go of the fear of succeeding and the fear of burning out. May we learn in time that we are worthy of love as we are, imperfect, individually and in community. that we are worthy of love in the presence of all that is good, all that is sacred. May it be so for us all. As the ushers bring the baskets around to collect both the offering and the little yellow slips if you have written on them, we will be honored to listen to the gift of an ancient Aramaic prayer that is currently sung in Syria. And we may or may not have the English words. If we can, that's great. If not, no worry, just listen. Thank you, Chris.
I guess the most remarkable thing about this particular song is that it is the Our Father prayer that many of us have learned previously. But when you take it back to the original Aramaic and retranslate it, it says, "O cosmic rebirther," not the Father. Abund bashmayo, abund bashmayo, abund bashmayo, nethekadashishimo, tithe melekutho, newe subeono, haikano de bashamayo. Ofebaro habalan, lahemo dusene konan, yomono washebukalan, aubain washato hain. Aikano dofanan, spakan lehayobain, lotalan neseuno, elo fasolan. Mene bisho metul, deloth hemelekutho, quailo teshebukato, lolam lominami.
It is moving to me to hear languages from around the world, places we know are in conflict or the center of ancient culture. It's time to extinguish our chalice. And I will say the words, which are not on the screen. I wonder if you have them. They're on Zoom, so the people on Zoom will be able to see them. And they're on your order of service. How about that? Let's speak together. We extinguish this flame. The last thing I'll share in benediction is the things that I have learned so far that people have said that they would like to see happen for the future of this congregation. That we grow in numbers and in families and diversity of all kinds, that we make a positive difference in Utica and Oneida counties, that we be a larger and more participatory congregation, that we all own this space and each other. We weave a strong fabric of many able to give their gifts to help us thrive in community.
Suniti Bajikal, who is the one that taught me this, she was a former member of our congregation and unfortunately has passed on. Raghupati Raghava Rajaram Patita Pavana Sitaram Raghupati Raghava Rajaram Patita Pavana Sitaram Sitaram Jai Sitaram Patita Pavana Sitaram Sitaram Jai Sitaram Patita Pavana Sitaram Raghupati Raghava Rajaram Patita Pavana Sitaram Raghupati Raghava Rajaram Patita Pavana Sitaram Ishwara Allah Tere Nam Sabako Sanmati De Bhagawan Ishwara Allah Tere Nam Sabako Sanmati De Bhagawan Raghupati Raghava Rajaram Patita Pavana Sitaram.